Are TV audience tools inherently broken at this point?
I think there's a revolution. The revolution is that we need to go beyond the panel, and we need to talk to the people, the viewers, and they're talking to us. They're telling us at this rate of, I think we worked it out, 30 million mentions of US TV shows since the beginning of this year, what they think about TV shows. And we can take that data and we can do really interesting things. We can look at it by community, by age demographic, and by sentiment.
So how is it better than a Nielsen box? 30 million data points is obviously a big part of that.
No, it's different. It's just completely bigger.
Yeah.
It's fuzzier though. And that's the challenge, is how do you take fuzzy data and turn it into quantifiable data? How do you take a source like Twitter, where people don't tell you their age, and work out what under 18-year-olds think?
Right.
Because media buyers and brands are used to buying media as under 18, you know, in this location. So how do we work out under 18s? And there are ways to do it. And that's what we've been working on.
Do you see this type of TV social data working in tandem with established means, or do you see it overtaking established means?
Look, I think it'll supplement initially, and people will test it, and all the things like, well, is Twitter representative of the demographic? And why is a large Twitter sample better than a carefully planned Nielsen panel demographic? And people will be comparing it. But I think the area where it's going to stand out, without a doubt, at the beginning, is the timeliness of it. You can see within a second what people are thinking about your shows, so that, in fact, we had dinner with some producers last night who want to see in real time what people are thinking in a quantifiable way, by community, by age demographic, about each point in the show. So we could be sitting here now actually watching a needle blipping up and down as Jodee and Max speak.
Or flatline, right? So is sentiment something that is inherently qualitative, or is there a quantitative component to it?
Actually, it's funny you mentioned sentiment, because I think even more important than sentiment is activity. It's mentions count. We look at this in financial markets too. And I was speaking to a very smart guy in financial markets who was saying, Jodee, I'm not interested in the sentiment of a particular stock. I just want to know what the activity is. Because negative for one person is actually positive for another, and you never actually really know what's driving the market. That's in finance. I think in TV shows, if you're getting a very big negative reaction, it could be a negative reaction to something that was said on the show that was about the show content or an actor, rather than necessarily the show itself. So I actually think mentions count can be a much better guide for a potential advertiser than necessarily good or bad.
So last question for you. How do you see this social data actually benefiting viewers? How will that manifest?
So what I dream about is, how do we turn this collective memory that we're laying down at the rate of 10,000 posts a second into a collective intelligence? And what I dream about is walking into a room of strangers and looking over your head and seeing all of the things that interest you and the communities that you're part of and the hashtags that we have in common, the tags that we have in common, and then rapidly deciding in a new room of 100 people who I want to get to know. And I think the same sort of thing works for TV viewers. When they're watching shows, they should be able to see what their friends are watching, what their friends are saying about the shows, what people like them, other CEOs or other mummy bloggers are saying about things. And so this is all about, how do we find relationships between different parts of data? And in this case, it's to TV, and which, by the way, I don't watch very much TV. I'm the internet guy. But I do see all my kids having 2 screens open now.
Well, thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thanks very much, mate.